The Navie Friends by Munshi Premchand. In Hindi titled as Nadan Dost. A bird had laid eggs just above the cornice in Keshav's house. Both Keshav and his sister Shama would watch the bird intently as it flew back and forth. First thing every morning, the two would come and stand in front of the cornice, rubbing their eyes, barely awake. The pleasure they drew from seeing the two birds was so great that they even forgot about the joys of milk and jalebi. Numerous questions rose in their minds. How big were the eggs? What color were they? How many? What they eat? How would the chicks come out of them? What is the nest like? But there was nobody around to answer their questions. Ma had no time from the housework and Babuji from his books. The two children had to comfort themselves by asking and answering each other.
Shama, tell me, Bhaiya, will the chicks fly away as soon as they come out of the eggs? No, silly, Keshav would reply, proud as a scholar. First, they have to grow wings. How would the poor things fly without wings? Shama, what would the poor bird feed her little ones? This was a tricky question for even Keshav to answer. A couple of days went by, and the children's curiosity increased. They were eager to see the eggs. They were certain they had hatched by then. The question of what the chicks would eat now weighed heavily on their minds. Where would the poor bird find enough grain to feed her brood? The chicks were sure to starve to death. This thought left the siblings very anxious. They decided to scatter some grains on the cornice for the bird to pick. Shama said happily, "Oh, then the bird won't have to fly anywhere in search of food, will she?" "Oh no," said Keshav. "Why would she?" "But won't the chicks be really hot up there?" A new worry crossed Shama's mind. Keshav had not thought of this problem until then. "Yes," he said, "they are probably dying of thirst up there. There is no shade above them even." It was finally decided that a makeshift roof would be erected above the nest. The proposal for a new bowl of water and some grain of rice was also approved. Both children began to work in earnest. Shama quietly brought some rice from the clay pot. Keshav secretly emptied the stone bowl of its oil, scrubbed it clean, and refilled it with water. But where to get the cloth for the shelter? And how to make the roof stay up without support? Keshav puzzled over the problem for a while before it was finally resolved. "Go and bring the garbage basket. Make sure Ma doesn't see you." "But it got a hole in the middle. Will it keep the sun out?" "First, bring the basket," Keshav said with slight irritation. "I'll take care of the hole." Shama went running and returned with the basket. Keshav stuffed the hole with some paper and rested the basket against the branch of a nearby tree. "See how the shadow of the basket falls on the nest. The sun can't get through now." Shama thought admiringly of her brother, that how clever her brother was. It was the month of summer. Babuji had gone to work. Having put both the children to sleep, Ma had lain down to rest. But the children were nowhere near sleeping. Eyes shut, they held their breath and waited for the right moment. As soon as they were sure Ma was asleep, they got up quietly, unlatched the door, and crept out. Soon they were making preparations to safeguard the eggs. Keshav brought a stool from the room, but it was still not high enough to reach the cornice. He then brought a small bathing stool to place under the first and gingerly climbed on the top. Shama held the stool with both hands. Its uneven legs made it rather wobbly, and it tipped slightly. whichever way the pressure increased. Only Keshav knew what fear, what dread assailed him at that moment. He would grab the cornice to steady himself and scold Shama under his breath. "Hold fast, or I'll come down and beat you nicely." But poor Shama's attention was taken up by the cornice. Time and again her mind veered in that direction, and her grip on the stool slackened. The moment Keshav's hands reached the cornice, the birds flew away. Keshav saw some twigs scattered on the cornice and 3 eggs lying on them. There was no nest like the ones he had seen on trees. Shama asked, "Can you see any chicks here?" "There are 3 eggs. The chicks haven't come out yet." "Show me here. How big are they?" "I will, but first bring some eggs to lay under the eggs. The poor eggs are lying on twigs and straw." Shama ran out and returned with a piece of cloth torn out from an old sari. Keshav leaned to take it from her, folded it a number of times to make it into a cushion, and placed it under the eggs. "I also want to see them here," Shama pleaded. Yes, I will show them to you. But first bring the basket so that I can make a roof," replied Keshav. Shama handed the basket from below and said, "Now you come down, it's my turn." Keshav rested the basket against the branch and said, "Go and bring water and grain. Let me get down, then you can have a look." Shama brought the bowl of water and rice too. Keshav placed them both under the basket and climbed down softly. Shama begged once again, "Bhaiya, help me climb up too, so I can see." "You'll fall down." "I won't fall down, Bhaiya. I hold the stool." No. If you fall down, Mom will be chutney out of me. She will accuse me of helping you up. What will come out of you seeing them? Anyway, now the eggs are comfortable. When they hatch, we'll both look after them." The 2 birds would approach the cornice only to quickly fly away again. Keshav wondered if they were scared, and he took away the stools. Shama was tearful. "You show me," she complained. "I'll tell Ma. I'll bash you if you tell Ma." "Then why didn't you show me? And what if you had fallen down and broken your head?" "So what? Big deal. You just wait. I'll tell Ma." Just then the door opened and Ma came out, shielding her eyes from the blazing sun. "What are you two doing out there in the sun?" she asked. "Who opened the latch? How many times do I have to tell you not to come out in the afternoon?" Keshav had opened the latch, but Shama didn't say that to her. She was scared that he might get a beating. Keshav was afraid that Shama might squeal. He hadn't shown her the eggs, and so didn't trust her. Whether Shama was silent out of love or because she was party to the crime is a matter of conjecture. Perhaps it was both. Ma scolded them and took them both back inside the room. She latched the door and started fanning them softly. It was only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the hot summer wind was blowing outside. Soon the 2 children were sleeping soundly. Shama woke up with a start at 4 o'clock. The door was unlatched. She ran to the cornice and looked up. There was no sign of the basket. She chanced to look down, ran back to the room and shouted, "Bhaiya, the eggs have fallen down. The chicks have flown away." Keshav ran to the cornice and saw that the eggs lay broken on the floor. A slimy white and yellow liquid was oozing out of them. The bowl of water was also lying up the roof. Keshav went pale and stared at the ground with gloomy eyes. Where have the chicks flown to? Shama asked. The eggs are broken, Keshav said sadly. And where have the chicks gone? Where do you think? He replied with some irritation. Can't you see the white liquid coming out of them? It would have turned into chicks in a few days. Ma shouted from behind. What are you doing out there in the sun? Ma, the eggs are broken, said Shama. You must have fiddled with them, said Ma angrily, looking at the broken shell. Now Shama didn't pity her brother. He must not have put the eggs back carefully enough so that they must have rolled off. He ought to be punished. He touched the egg, Ma, said Shama. Why? Ma asked. Keshav stood tongue-tied. How did you reach there? Ma asked again. He kept a stool on the beating stool and climbed up, Shama said. Weren't you holding the stool? Keshav asked. You told me to, replied Shama. You are a grown-up boy, Keshav, said Ma. Don't you know that when you touch the egg, they become tainted, and then the birds don't hatch them anymore? So the birds drop the eggs themselves? Shama asked her mother fearfully. What else would the birds do? Ma said. Keshav, you have done a terrible thing. Oh my God, you have taken 3 lives. Keshav looked pained. I only cushioned the eggs, he said quietly. That made Ma laugh. But for quite some time after that, Keshav was pricked by a guilty conscience. In trying to protect the eggs, he destroyed them. This thought would even make him cry at times. As for the 2 birds, they were never to be seen there again.